Rob Lambert. I directed and shot Los Niños Sicarios, and yeah, I was thankful enough to get it in Pasadena International Film Festival.
Which translates as the Child Assassins.
Yeah, Child Assassins, that's right.
I don't even know where to begin, man. It's fascinating and heavy.
Yeah.
At the same time, you have to understand.
We emailed and you were talking.
I know. I've been talking to you about this since the beginning. I'm a big fan of samurai films.
Okay.
And my question to you is what sparked the inspiration, because I've always watched Kurosawa films, and I watched this particular cartoon which was about a samurai assassin who was 15 years old. It's called Rurouni Kenshin. I even wrote a play based on that. But tell me, what inspired you?
Yeah.
What started this?
My own childhood. You know, I was probably like 10 or 15 years ago, I got really into reading the Charles Bowden books about the border city kind of, you know, chaos that's happening. And so I just have always been kind of leaned into that, just, you know, kind of that situation that's going on, you know, the fact that, you know, more people have died in that whole drug war than in the Iraq war since the Iraq war started, which is just a kind of mind-blowing stat. So I just have always been, just out of my own curiosity, researching, and I mean, I love the movie Traffic, and I love the Southwest, and so I don't know, it just all kind of combined, and I started reading these articles about these American kids who were basically getting caught killing people, and so then the more I researched it,
yeah, what's the process?
Yeah,
How do they get from?
Let me get into the process. So basically, the majority of these kids, they live on the American side of the border, but it's basically border town USA, and it's, for the most part, it's pretty, you know, it's pretty torn up, and these kids are, you know, they're from, you know, beyond broken homes. So the sort of the way it usually works, or the way the stories that I've read and looked into, is that it's usually like an older cousin or somebody, and a lot of them have families still in Mexico, and a lot of them are, you know, they belong to the cartels. So the recruiting process works where they bring them over for parties. So like in the case of a few kids that I researched, they live in Laredo, and then they go across the border to Nuevo Laredo, and basically they go to these parties, and then they're 12, 13, and they're asked to kill someone. Either it's like a rival cartel member, or just a random person they just want to take out. So they kind of induct them, and
because they're underage, it's difficult to prosecute also.
Yeah, so there's twofold. It's like, because they're Americans, they can go back and forth across the border, no questions asked. And if they're under 18, there's this loophole law in some parts of Mexico that they can do anything. You can literally behead, you know, 10 people, and if you stop by the time you're 17 and you get arrested, you spend 6 months in jail, and they let you out, or they deport you back to the U.S. So one of the stories I read about was this kid who was born in San Diego, and he was working with the Tijuana cartel, and he had beheaded 4 people, and they caught him down there. And so he spent, like, I don't know, I'd say like 6 months in jail or something. They let him out, they deport him back to San Diego, and he enrolls in high school, and he you know, goes to kind of get back into the swing of American life, and I think people found out, and you know, that wasn't allowed, but that's sort of.
Did he go back to his older life?
Yeah, so there's no trail of him right now. I mean, as far as I know. But you know, it sparked my interest, because I thought, well, you know, what is that like to be in high school and have one of your classmates be basically a hitman, a trained hitman with 9 months training, and with the paramilitaries and the rest of that. And so then that got this whole idea brewing, and I started writing a feature, and you know, I ran it by some people, and they're like, you know, you don't have the money for the feature, why don't you do a short, and you just do like a day in the life. So
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Make this feature.
Yeah.
Make it. It's important.
Yeah. No, I want to. I mean, I'm right now I have a pilot I'd like to make, because I think.
Or do that.
Yeah. Well, here's what I think. I think there's so much material, in terms of there's so many different stories, and there's so many different ways you can take it, to do like 90 minutes or 2 hours. To me feels like there's so much left.
Right.
So I've created like kind of a series that I want to push, and so
That's
it's
amazing.
based around these kids. So I don't know. I think it goes along too with, you know, there's a lot of talk about underserved markets for different, you know, groups, but I think the Latino community is severely underserved, especially the Mexican American side of things. And so I think it would be something that just sort of fits. I mean, I think something that I read was there's 20% of millennials are bilinguals, meaning they're Americans
Yeah.
who are bilingual, and they're millennials. But I mean, there's like a show or two, and they're usually not very good.
Right.
So
Millennials just can't catch a break.
I mean, they can't, bilingual or not. So I don't know. To me, I think it's kind of ripe for, I want them to get some
That's
content.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. What was the toughest thing you had to deal with while doing this?
The toughest thing, probably the Phoenix heat.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of the actual physical production, but
Pretty scalding.
Yeah, it was like 106, 108 when we were shooting down there, and we were outside all day, just like.
Yeah,
So,
the whole scene with them playing football. And
yeah,
stuff.
so that was tough. Camera overheated, and but you know, I think getting some of the details right. I speak very little Spanish, so I've had a few friends who are very good friends who are native Spanish speakers. So I hammered them hard on like getting specifics right. Like, you know, we hired these guys to do the phone calls that were actually from Sinaloa, and we tried to sort of make things as real as possible in terms of what we were going to do with the short.
Oh, it sounded pretty real.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad it did. I stripped out all the dialogue, so there wasn't, you know, there's a reason why a lot of these actors are paid as much as they are. So when you hire child actors who are pretty much just normal kids,
Yeah.
you want to give them the best shot to really play the part and not look, you know, look bad.
Going back to the whole inspiration thing, but ultimately I'm trying to ask you, what is the message here? What do you want people to get out of this?
You know, well, quite frankly, you know, the whole situation, these kids, it's to me no different than the Boko Haram kids or, you know, the Taliban kids, ISIS. It's just really close to us. They're
Seems to be
Americans.
happening everywhere.
I mean, it's happening everywhere, and these kids are right in our backyard, you know. And there's videos of these kids being forced to cut people's heads off and all kinds of really sick
I can
stuff.
only imagine the brainwashing that is happening to these kids. I mean, how do you survive that emotionally?
Yeah, I don't think they do. I think
Yeah.
that the shelf life for a child hitman is probably a small window.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope I didn't make you feel too bad.
No. It's fine.
Downer.
It's something that I think is very important that gets to be talked about.
I'm really glad that you responded to it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot to it. I'd like to do more with it.
Something that I've always been drawn to in the sense, you know, ever since I was a kid watching Japanese cartoons. Way before I should be watching them. But now it's carried over, and I'm still interested in the subject.
Yeah.
And now it's a reality.
It's
happening again. It happened in feudal Japan and China, and now it's happening again
Yeah.
in a big scale. So I think it's important to talk about.
Yeah.
But on to better news. What's in store for you in the future?
So
Other
I
than
touched on
developing
developing that, and then I'm doing a music show with Adaptive Studios. They produce Project Greenlight. So we're doing the show breaking new bands in LA. Very different from Los Niños, of course. But yeah, so kind of bands that we're scouting right now. And so the bands that we're looking for are just about to they have a following and they're just about to kind of break. And so we want to do almost like an Anthony Bourdain-ish kind of thing where we get to know them, we take them out, we get them hammered, and hear them play drunk.
Cool.
So it's sort of fun, and we get to yeah. And hopefully maybe they become Katy Perry or somebody else cool. Yeah.
Cool.
So.
Very nice.